Many arrived at Father Max on May 29th, but it wasn't because of a soccer game or swimming meet, but rather for a special man who died of cancer this past year. Friends and family gathered to celebrate the life of Fernando Morales.
What does this event really mean to you three?
I'd say it means everything, really. Fernando was such a great friend, and I think this event really shows how many people truly cared about him, and it's awesome.
I think it really just shows the unity that everyone who can come together on a common ground, and just how much they really supported and loved this great individual, and just how much he in return loved all of us, and we all just happened to know that.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. I think this is definitely representative of the love that everyone had for him and continues to have for him, and what he had back for us.
Love you, Fern.
No complaints.
No complaints.
Thank you.
The very involved 20-year-old became more of a friend than student to several members of the faculty.
I met Fernando when he was in my sophomore class, which is when he was diagnosed. So then there was a lot of private tutoring. Then he was the SAT officer, which I advised. Then he was on the yearbook, which I advised. So by the time he graduated, we were really close. And then once he graduated, he was going to Providence College, which is around where I'm from. And so we went there together all the time.
It's amazing to see the outpouring of support. And I think it's just such a tribute to how many people he touched, and how many friends he had, and whether it was staff members like myself or students.
Fernando's kindness inspired Bella Aspinwall to organize this event in honor of him.
He was always just so happy and willing to help other people even when he didn't have to, and he really shouldn't have because he had to focus on himself. But he always had no complaints, as he always said, and I guess I can have no complaints for tonight.
The event brings comfort to his family, knowing that they can thank all those closest to him.
Well, I'm really grateful that we have this opportunity to all get together. If I won't be able to tell people one by one, so when they see this, I want them to know how grateful we are, especially the ones that were away in college. They didn't get a chance to come to the services when he passed away. It was in January, and I am so happy they have this opportunity to do it today.
Thank you very much for talking with me.
Of no fear, of no pain, a place where the light hits my face and joy is my saving grace. That's where you'll find me. And though some days are long and hard, know that I'll always be your friend, and you'll always have a part of me. In the laughter and in every single memory, and your love was what sustains me. Brought a smile onto my face, and I'm thankful for every day I spent in your loving embrace, and know I'll be with you day by day, day by day. Hay un lugar a donde ya yo no siento dolor, a donde en mi cara yo puedo sentir los rayos del sol. Allí me encontrarás, y sé que unos días serán duros, pero yo siempre seré tu amigo, y tu amor me sostendrá, y yo siempre estaré en tu corazón. and in every single memory. And your love was what sustained me. It brought a smile on my face. And he's thankful for every day he spent in your loving embrace. And know he'll be with you day by day, day by day, day by day. Yo soy tu amigo. Thank you.
Okay, so on the count of three, we're going to release them together. 1, 2, 3. Recently, WBR Boston 90.9 FM featured a piece on Fernando as part of the Remembrance Project by Lisa L. She writes stories about people who have passed away after she talks with their family and briefly researches them. Here's Fernando's story.
We now turn to our weekly series, The Remembrance Project, stories of the lives of ordinary men and women who've passed. This morning, writer Alyssa Eli remembers a young man who loved to keep lists.
Fernando Morales died January 16th in Norwood, Massachusetts. He had achieved his dream of attending the Olympics in London, though not his dreams of seeing the Northern Lights in Iceland or visiting castles in Germany. He was 20 years old. In a set of moleskin notebooks, Fernando kept his life lists, dream vacations, future professions, college assignments, hours of the day for pain medication, and days of the week for chemotherapy. Lists were the perfect form of expression for him. He loved to write, but hated to edit. Fernando was quick in everything he did, a quick writer, a quick runner. As a child, he pretended to be a cheetah. Expectations were that his swiftness on the freshman high school soccer team would increase in sophomore year on the track team. Instead, he noticed that everyone was running past him. For months, he assumed his knee pain was a sports injury. The knee pain was Ewing sarcoma. He met the news with plans. First of all, he meant to return to the soccer field. Down the road, he intended to be an architect or a librarian or a geologist, and for certain a millionaire. This cancer diagnosis at 16 was just an impediment holding his plans up. Over the next year, there was chemotherapy every 2 weeks and 31 terrible rounds of radiation before the sarcoma went into remission. The tolls of treatment were high. Yet Fernando found time for opportunity, whether it was the Olympics or a trip to Red Sox spring training. After the sarcoma recurred, he worked on the yearbook and attended senior prom, all the milestones of movement through high school. He managed a semester of college, too, which thrilled him. Though he'd been a shy child, Fernando instinctively knew how to set others at ease on a devastating subject. "I can walk, I can laugh, I can smile," he said, and did with charm. He gave many interviews, and in one he guided the uncomfortable interviewer who'd been hesitating to ask him about the side effects of chemotherapy. It was as if the interviewer were the delicate one requiring care, and Fernando the willing one prepared to give it. He was matter-of-fact, explanatory, encouraging. "I'm a normal kid just going through these circumstances," he said. "Cancer brought out the best in me." Still, he was alive to his losses. He wished he could have seen his sister and cousins grow and would have liked to travel to Italy for the food. He wanted to know what he would become, besides a millionaire, and had begun studying art in college. He never made complaints, but he did make honest notes. "If you have a choice," he wrote in a moleskin book, "protect yourself from cancer."
In just one moment, we will begin our 21 candle ceremony, where friends and family members of Fernando are going to share their memories and stories representing what Fernando meant to them. Each candle represents a year of Fernando's life and will be followed by a performance by Norwood Choral students and alumni. For our 21st candle, we ask that everyone please take a moment of silence and remain silent while we will listen to a motivational speech Fern gave this past New Year's. This candle is representative of how Fernando was unable to celebrate his 21st birthday with us physically, but how he will always remain with us in spirit. To begin the ceremony, John Gonzalez will start with candle number 1.
Hi everybody, great to see everybody here. Remember Fernando, great person, great kid, and a great friend to all of you, and my friend. Bella said I had to tell a story, so there's all kinds of things that he did with us, but since we spent so much time at Father Max, I figured we'd talk about soccer for a little bit. And the thing that we always had between me and him, me being his coach, was stop looking at the sky. Because as we know, Fernando will lose focus, and I yell at him, stop looking at the sky. So when he was little, it was okay. As he got older, he'd get mad at me, and he'd look the other way. He'd say something, but he always made sure I could never hear him. So now we knew how to get him in focus, and we always, that was our thing. Stop looking at the sky and please focus. And guess what's the first thing that I had to do when I got here? Look at the sky and watch the balloons go. So I know he's laughing at me, and he was laughing at you guys too. You know, I miss him. I love him. Peace, my friend.
First, can we just appreciate this beautiful sunset? I just could not stand up here without pointing it out because, as my friends know, I'm a sunset person. Oh, Fernando, my brother, my best friend, my motivation and inspiration. Fernando was somebody who was always there for me. I think my favorite memories of us together are the little ones. For example, when we would be going somewhere together, and I would obviously be lost, he would just shake his head, smile, and not think anything of it. Or when he would come into my room and just sit and chat, and vice versa. We would always fill each other in on the latest family and friend gossip. He always came to me for advice, and I to him. I trusted him with everything and knew he would always be honest with me. He never held back. He was that person I could tell anything to and not be worried about being judged. I love and miss him so much, and there's not a minute in the day that goes by that I don't think of him. 20 years was not enough time, but I am grateful for the time and memories that we had together. He will forever be my little brother.
The past can hurt, but the way I see it, you either can run from it or learn from it. A baboon named Rafiki once said this to a young adult lion named Simba as he was dealing with the death of Mufasa.
Why are we relating this to a Disney movie? Well, you see, the three of us enjoyed watching Disney movies and making fun of them. Like how could Mulan in Seven Soldiers possibly beat a million times? He was one of the few people that embraced our childish behavior.
Instead of doing normal teen and young adult things, we would be the oldest ones in the movie theater during Monster University and then indulge in ice cream after like there was no tomorrow.
He wasn't embarrassed by us when we wanted to run up and down the musical stairs or play games in the kids' room in the hospital. During the summer of 2011, there was a hurricane, so we drove to his house to play Bananagram because there was no power, and of course food was involved. So Albino braved the hurricane and got us one because we hadn't discovered Ricos yet.
We could go on all night about our childish memories, but back to the Lion King quote. I believe as we remember the good times instead of hurting due to the fact that we miss him, we should remember all the things he taught us, each and every one of us. I know he had taught the two of us how to smile, live life to the fullest, and act like a child.
What a beautiful day today. I asked Fernando to give me a day like today, and he did. December 2012. Fernando asked me, let's do something special for his family for the holidays. He told him about his grandmother, whose daughter left her for daughter left her 4 kids with her to take care of them. Early that year, the doctor told the grandmother that she had breast cancer. Fernando quickly went to his room, got his wallet, took $50 bill and gave it to me. He said, let's start a fundraiser for this family. A few days later, I told him I had $300. He looked at me, that's it? And then I knew I needed to ask people for more money. So I started asking my family, my friends, co-workers. 2 weeks later, I had more than $700. Fernando told me it is time to give the money to the grandmother. So I give the money the next day. I told the grandmother that this was Fernando's idea. She said, thanks for me. Now we are going to have a good holiday this year. That night Fernando was waiting for me to see what the grandmother said. His smile was priceless. At the Fernando's wake, the grandmother came over to say goodbye to Fernando. Now you know how beautiful and big was his heart. He was my friend, my best friend, my hero. I miss him so much. Thank you. No complaints.
Hello, everyone. So I'm Mike Travers, for those of you who might not know me. So all of us here, we were asked if we could say a little something about Fernando, and we were told to keep it to under a minute, which I think every single one of us can agree is one of the most difficult things we could possibly think of right now. Long story short, 1 minute. Hard. Anyways, so when people came up to me and said, Isabel said, well, Mike, will you speak at this thing? I said, absolutely. So I talked for a good week to everyone I knew. I said, what story should I tell about Fernando? And people kept telling me countless stories as if they knew him. So many people that never even got a chance to meet him, and they were telling me stories. They were telling me memories that I couldn't even think of. But everybody kind of came back to this one. Fernando and I had a long-going tradition where we would go to Twin Rivers Casino. I'm such a good influence on him, I know. So we always had this tradition that you could really tell that he really had no complaints about things. No matter how much money he would win, whether it was 5 cents or $1, he was the happiest kid alive. Every time he'd get 5 cents, he'd give me a high five. Anytime anything over $1, he'd give me a little, what do you call it, a fist pump thing. And there were times that there was one time he won $33, so we sat there 1, 2, 33 times. The woman next to us was very mad. Very mad. To this day, whenever I go there, which isn't very often, but when I do go there, I still do that. Whether there's a person next to me or not, I still know Fernando's next to me, and I give him the high five, and I give him the fist bump no matter what. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. So kind of going off of what Coach John said about how Fernando would always be looking at the sky during practice and stuff like that. A funny memory that we all have is, so one day we were at practice and we were doing the infamous Coach John drills that everybody knows. And next up is Fernando in line. And as we look up at him, he's just looking at the sky, shooting birds, pretending to shoot birds out of the sky. And he's not paying attention, and Coach John, obviously starts to yell at him. And basically, it's at the time it was kind of, we were all serious about it, trying to get, the drills in. And looking back on it, we see that really even at a young age, we saw that Fernando really always had a positive outlook on life, really never had a care in the world. And it's just really inspiring because we should all do the same, really live day by day, live each day to its fullest, and be grateful for everything that happens each day. Thank you, and God bless.
So, Fred and I have been friends for a long time now, and a lot of the time we would hang out and we'd just watch movies and whatever. And so one day we were deciding what movie to watch, and I'm so indecisive, I never pick. And he's like, okay, I want to watch 27 Justice. I was like, okay, fine. For those of you who know Fernando, He ends up in dresses a lot. It just happened. He's proud of it. And so for forever, I've been telling him that in my wedding, he was going to be my bridesman and that he had to wear a dress. He denies it. He says he would never do it. Everyone knows he would. I was probably going to make him do it by telling him I'd find a nice hat or headpiece to match it because he loves his hats. And as long as his head looks good, I think he'll be fine.
I broke my ankle. Fern was better at this than me. So I kind of took a different turn on this. I didn't do a memory, I kind of wrote a poem. So, there we go. There's no way to fit 9 years of friendship into a short speech for a crowd, but I'm not so concerned. Friendship is simply a sum of memories held close inside the souls of two people. The energy inside us lives, even if our bodies can't. Fernando isn't lost. Our memories aren't lost. Our friendship isn't lost. It's just in the next room. I can still hear it whispering, laughing, singing, speaking, and crying in the passenger seat of my car. I can still hear the earbud you offered me on the bus in 6th grade, an olive branch, the bridge between us that started such a climb that will finish when I scale up to wherever you are. I hear your protests to the nickname Fern that you later embraced, only when everyone else liked it. I can still smell hospital sheets and rubbing alcohol, Fenway Park and family parties. I still taste the food we made, very rarely good, and the food we ordered after, usually a lot better. I taste the alcohol we tried a few times, and you found mocking me drunk more fun than getting drunk yourself. Typical. I still see you in my neighborhood. I still hear your laugh on the last night of summer every year, on the Willett playground or around the fire in my backyard. I still feel you next to me at the kitchen table, on the couch playing PS3, or on the other side of the phone. Nothing's changed. You're simply somewhere else. You're around a different corner than the one we learned to walk when we hung out till the early hours of the morning. I still find you at the end of my driveway waiting, so we can sneak out and walk the block and talk about the midnight moon. I remember you asked me what superhero I would choose to be. I didn't need to ask you. You were already a hero. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. So there are countless memories I could share when it comes to Fernando. He was such a great friend and an even greater inspiration. He was always understanding and level-headed, even when he had the weight of the world on his shoulders. I especially remember the times he said to me, "See, everyone has their own problems, and everyone's problems are important. It's all about perspective." It was remarkable how selfless Fernando was, and he has put everything into perspective for me. I've learned not to take anything for granted, make the most out of every moment, and especially tape up the picture. I am so grateful to have been given the chance to know such an amazing person. I will never forget the trips to Orange Leaf, Panera, or even the time we spent about 4 hours watching the show Too Cute, Puppy's Edition on Animal Planet. I think we have all learned a lot from Fern, and I know we all remember him in a positive light. And I also know Fernando had the highest hopes for everyone, and was so proud of everything we have accomplished already. We all love him and miss him, and we'll remember him forever. Love you, Fern. No complaints.
For those of you who don't know me, I first met Fernando because he was my student. I met him as a sophomore with a head full of curly hair. I remember the first time he really made an impression on me early in the year. I asked my class to form a circle to discuss the previous night's reading, and he just didn't. He just sat in the middle with everyone around him and chattered away happily, and I thought to myself, who is this child? After he was on my yearbook staff and he was in SAD, and we got to be very close. After he graduated, he went to Providence College, and I'm from Providence, so we went all over that city together. It's the reason why I don't have a favorite memory to share with you all. They're all my favorite memories. They're a blur of cobblestone streets and food trucks, of water and fire. I saw Fernando for the last time 3 days before he died. That's a heavy thing to talk about for a night that's filled with light. But the reason why I'm sharing this with you all is because that's the first and only time that I told him how much he meant to me. I'm so glad that I had that chance, because I know many people don't. And many people's worst regret is that they don't tell the people around them how much they love them and how much they care about him. Not Fernando, though. This guy knew how to live. But the type of people that he surrounded himself with, the people who lit up his life the way we're lighting up the night, those type of people, that essence about him, the amount of people who are here tonight go to show you the tremendous impact he had and will always have on all of us. The other reason why I bring that up today is because I want to make sure that we celebrate his life not only today, but every day. The thing about Fernando is that he is amazing. He has a legacy that we need to honor. Now, granted, you can do this by playing soccer, or by taking photography, or eating those BJ wraps from Rico's that supposedly are really good. But the heart of remembering Fernando is even simpler. If you just surround yourself with positive people and disregard anybody else, and most importantly, tell people that you love them, and please do this before it comes down to the last minute. Thank you.
Well, I'm glad I made this an 18 font, because I would have never been able to see it. I first met Fernando after I hired him as a soccer referee. He came to me to the snack shack at the Copley Fields and said, in his soft-spoken, squeaky voice, "Hi, Mr. Martinez, I'm Fernando." When I looked at him, I saw this quirky little kid with a huge head of curly hair. I didn't know what to think other than, oh man, look at that hair. As I got to know him better, I noticed how kids seemed to flock to him, always giving him high fives, a shake of the hand, or a big hug, which I think that he liked the best. Soon after becoming a referee, after initially being diagnosed, he told me, and I quote, "I'm so sorry that I can't referee anymore, Mr. Baratimas. I'll try to find someone else to replace me, just like him." I told him, "No one could ever replace you, Fernando. You're a one of a kind." He smiled and said, in his humble little way, "Thank you." From that point, he worked at the concession window and as a mentor to other refs, and he enjoyed that most of all. Through the years, he and I became closer, but during this time, Fernando became my mentor in life. He taught me, he inspired me, he helped me look beyond what was wrong with today and helped me see what I can do better for tomorrow. For that lesson alone, I am forever grateful. And I leave you with this. Say not in grief, he is no more, but live in thankfulness that he was. I'll always love you, Fernando. And I'll never forget what you taught me.
Good evening. Can we give a little round of applause to these wonderful young women who organized this? Morristown, the students that get him at Norwood High. And I bumped into Bella a couple weeks ago, and she asked if I would speak, and I struggled to come up with what I wanted to say. And I thought I'd talk a little bit about opportunities. Fernando took advantage of all of his opportunities that presented him, and that certainly rang true in all the stories. In 2009, I had the opportunity of meeting Fernando and this crazy girl behind me, Kayleen Spalding, and many of the beautiful faces out there today that were part of the class of 2013. And I just remember Fernando being there and Spalding being really loud. And I had the opportunity many times of asking Fernando to leave my office so I could do some work. And I had the opportunity of demanding that Spalding get out of my office many times. I had the opportunity that year of coaching Fernando. I had the opportunity of disagreeing with him when he thought he was a 55-meter sprinter, and I knew that he was a 600-meter guy. And I knew that because of his heart and his desire, which he demonstrated so incredibly over the course of his 20 years. In 2010, I was given the opportunity to go to, I don't know to talk about it, but Spalding somehow got a hold of my phone number and had the opportunity of her bugging me and setting up lunch dates, and Fernando was always there and building our friendship throughout the course of those years. I had to explain to somebody today, well, you only coached him or taught him for a year. How is that friendship? We just clicked. You just have that with people, and Fernando had that with so many people. I had the opportunity, thankfully, this is my son Frankie, proudly wearing his Norwood soccer shirt. We just came from the field. And we saw Fernando often at the snack shack, and I had the opportunity of catching up, checking in, trying to get some information out of him on how he was doing. And it was always, as everybody knows, no complaints. I had the opportunity of getting some free candy for my children from Fernando, which was phenomenal. It was always such a pleasure to see him, such a pleasure to see that smile, to give him a hug. In January this year, I had the opportunity of walking with my family and many of you here. We took a tremendous walk. The Flaherty family and many others put it together, and we took a nice hike through Houghton's Pond. And at the end, the last half mile or so, Mr. Morales and I fell in with each other, just totally coincidence, and we had just a phenomenal talk about Fernando and his strengths and his dreams and what he wanted to do. And he mentioned that he wanted me to see him, and I did not take that opportunity. So, opportunity lost. Unfortunately, opportunity gained for me. Short time later, a good friend was passing away from his battle with cancer. Thank you, Fernando. Opportunity gained. I went and saw that friend and was able to say goodbye in a proper manner. Tell him I love him, like Julie mentioned. To many of you here, I love you dearly. So, opportunity gained, thanks to Fernando. Lesson learned, thanks to Fernando. Sorry to be somber, but the teacher in me, I kept coming back to what the lesson was learned. And the lesson learned for hopefully many of you, you learned it before I did at 47. Take those opportunities. Love life as it is every day. And tell the people you love, tell the people you know that you love them. No complaints. And one last time, as I used to like to greet him, Fernando!
Hello everyone, I am Fernando's aunt, and behind me next to me is my sister Esther and my brother Miguel, and we're doing things like we always do together. So we were asked to come up with the favorite memory of Fernando. That's the hardest thing to do because it's 20 years worth. So we figured that we'd say something about him that we want you guys to know. And you already do. He was a positive young man, a warrior, a teacher, a prophet, and most of all, a gift to our family. Fernando faced adversity in many ways, and he overcame many hurdles. Yes, cancer was one of them, and the major one. But he always stayed positive and constantly telling himself that everything is possible. Esther always says that her favorite thing to do now is to hear your memories of Fernando, and those are ours too. We like to see how this young man impacted so many lives. He taught us so much, and it's ironic how you can learn from your nephews and your little ones being that grown up. In one of his videos, he mentioned the importance of family, friends, sports, especially soccer, and education. He meant it. He didn't say it just because it was the right thing to say. He was genuine. We all contributed a little piece in each day of his life. He appreciated the time we spent with him, and I remember just admiring his social interactions with each one of you. Last Christmas, Fernando was in the hospital, and we didn't think he was going to spend Christmas in our house. And I hosted. How remarkable is it that he got out of the hospital and came over to celebrate with all of us. He made that Christmas the most special Christmas of all. You know, Fernando had the wackiest aunts and uncles, but he enjoyed it. He loved laughing, he loved being with us, and he embraced our wackiness. So in closing, I'd just like to thank all of you guys for loving him and becoming a wonderful part of our family. And Bella, thank you very much for organizing this, as well as everybody else that was a part of this. This is a day we won't remember, and Fernando lives on in each one of us, so thank you.
Good evening. I'm Amanda and Robin, and we are part of Fernando's Jimmy Fun Clinic family. We met him as Fernando, and we grew to love him as Fern. Ferns are among the oldest plants on Earth. Fernando was wise behind his years. Ferns grow in many habitats around the world. Fernando wished to travel the world. He shared stories of his journeys from New Hampshire, Maine, Florida, Costa Rica, and Spain with all of us. Many types of ferns flourish both indoors and outdoors. Fernando shone on the soccer field, behind a camera lens, and when bringing ink and lead to canvas. A fern is a vascular plant having true roots and stems with complex yet delicate leaves. We had the honor of caring for Fernando, who fought a complex battle, but whom always had a kind heart, a warm smile, gentle spirit, and brave soul. Ferns occur in many world regions. There is an overwhelming richness of ferns in tropical regions, and Costa Rica has more than 900 species. Fernando was unique and creative. He flourished at the Jimmy Fun Clinic. He touched all of our hearts, and a piece of him will live on within the clinic's walls and each of us forever. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I know Victoria and myself had an amazing honor and privilege to be Fernando's cousin. And Maya Angelou once said, "People won't remember what you said. Many won't remember what you did, but they will remember how you made them feel." I know that Fernando made me feel electric. His energy was infectious, and I credit my personality to him because without him, I knew that I didn't have a role model to follow by. And Victoria has a few words to add.
So I don't know how I could possibly fit a lifetime of memories into just one speech, but I can say that Fernando one of the most important role models that has ever been a part of our lives. And he always had some of the best advice that anyone could ask for. I remember that he gave the best hug. Every single time he saw me, he would run up to me and he would give me the tightest hug he possibly could. I know that I would give anything for him to get such a moment.
Fernando was not only a good friend, but at 20 years old, he was also a great teacher. He taught us to smile when we were down and when hope seemed near impossible. I remember when he first lost his hair from chemo and he was very upset, but he pushed forward and kept fighting. He knew that it was very tough for him to lose his crazy curls. Not everyone is strong enough to hear such a devastating diagnosis and keep their head up. So around 2 years ago, I decided I would grow my hair out and donate it to someone who was struggling with their hair loss from cancer. And so after 22 months and 12 inches of hair, I donated my hair to Pantene Beautiful Lengths program so that someone may gain the confidence and keep fighting.
So, you guys all have hobbies or activities that you love to do, and Fernando was always that kid that he'd join you with him, and he'd make you feel cool for doing them. And for me and Fernando, it was Super Smash Brothers. I'm not gonna lie, he never really won. But just around now, I started to realize what he was really getting from it. Every end of the match, he'd look at me, and I didn't realize it till now, but he loved seeing you smile after the match. He loved seeing you happy, even though like he lost. He really won, you know. He's the kind of kid that just always wanted to see people smiling and happy. I love you, Fern. Rest in peace.
I'm Esther. I'm Fernando's mom. I'm sorry. I never cried, but the beautiful word. From the time he was born, Fernando was a very sensitive and kind soul. As a child, he was happy, active, curious, but also very demanding. I want it my way. He always wanted to try different activities, especially outdoors, like sports, travel, collections, and sharing with friends. As he got older, he wanted to conform, but also to be unique and independent. He became insightful. In the end, he turned into my advisor. I miss asking him for his opinion. I will miss the memories we couldn't create and the things he wasn't able to accomplish or enjoy. I will always cherish the memories of the things he was able to do in his life. His friends will always have a special place in my heart. He will be forever young, but most importantly, he loved and was loved. Footprints on Our Heart by Flavia Wiley. Some people come into our lives and quickly go. Some people move our souls to dance. They awaken us to new understanding with the passing whisper of their wisdom. Some people make the sky more beautiful to gaze upon. They stay in our lives for a while, leave footprints on our hearts, and we are never, ever the same. Thank you.
I'm Jen. Jake. We were lucky enough to be able to know Fernando, being part of his Jimmy Fun family. We were both patients with Jimmy Fun, so we met Fernando through that. When I first met Fernando, I didn't really meet him. We just had the same clinic day on Fridays, and
we would sit there and just sort of like not say hi to each other. We went to the same girls game, and apparently he tried to say hi to me. I was too nervous, didn't register it. We relapsed around the same time, and that's when we really started talking. He was really positive, and I try to remember the good days that he had. I remember I gave him a Never Quit bracelet, which I still wear mine. It's a foundation that John Lester, one of his favorite Red Sox players, created. And we ended up wearing our bracelets right after I gave it to him together at Cancer Survivor Day at Fenway last year. And that was a really good day for him. He was feeling really good. And we went to the North End after, and we got food, and it was a really good day. And I'll just try to remember that and his Never Quit attitude.
Met him in the same fashion at Jimmy Park and update. And it's the reason why I would say that I was lucky to be in because of Fernando. Under any other circumstance, you don't get lucky meeting someone when you're going treatment or any sort of illness like that. But we grew pretty close, and he kind of became a little brother to me. And it feels like a true honor to be up here with all these people who have all these years that they were able to spend with him. But Jen and I kind of got the tail end of that. We got the Fernando that was a warrior, that was a positive, smiling force regardless of no hair or whatever it was ailing him at the time. But for me, the memory that most sticks out is I live up in New Hampshire, and the only reason why I met him is because of Jimmy Park. We would go up to this lake up in northern New Hampshire where I always bragged about my ability to catch turtles, which didn't pan out when we would go, but we would always just cruise around in this canoe, and we were both going through chemo at the time, so we would wake up and then we'd try and catch turtles, and then we'd go take a nap like we were toddlers, and then we'd go back at it. And one day in particular, I was warning him about this grass I call spider grass because I have a very real fear of spiders. And I didn't know at the time he had a more real fear, because as soon as we went into it, I heard screams and shouts that I never knew to be human. So I felt a little better then. But the point I'm trying to make is I think I am guilty as well as everyone in the world of kind of forgetting what life is, and just the fact that you wake up and you breathe every day. That's life. And when we're out on the lake, you're just kind of surrounded by that feeling of life. Everything's alive. And even if you're successful in catching a turtle, or you're unsuccessful in getting attacked by spiders, you're alive. And that's what I try and take from the experiences that Fernando and I were alive together. And we have good times at that.
Hello everyone, my name is Tyler, and with the final candle, I will give no speech, but I ask that everyone close their eyes and take a moment to remember how Fernando has touched you personally, whether that just be with a smile or just your own memory. Thank you.
I know a lot of you may be scared of what's up to come the upcoming year. We all are, but it's something that we all go through together. And all we have to do is just enjoy every day to the best of our ability. And that's with just getting up, opening your eyes, and just taking advantage of what God and your life has to offer you. So I do my best to take advantage of all this. And as a result, I've been happy. And I hope that all of you are practicing this as well. I love all of you.
a place